Hi everyone, welcome back to a brand new video.
Hello!
So today we're going to dive into the world of Disney Genie, which is a very confusing world. But we hope this video can kind of help a little bit, maybe clear up a few bits that you're unsure of. But we just wanted to start off by saying that we're not complete experts in this. We did use it on our last trip. But stuff seems to be changing constantly. The way people use it has been changing constantly. So make sure that you have a little read up about it before you go away, just in case anything we say is outdated.
Yeah, this video is based on our experience of it and things we picked up along the way. So, the thing I will say is that it gets a lot easier when you're sort of using it.
Yeah. It's
sort
really
of trial and error. It's
very difficult because it's not like the old FastPass system where you can plan in advance. Everything is done on the day, and I think that's what makes it a little bit intimidating because you can't plan. You have to just do it when you're there. But it does get easier the more you use it when you're there.
So I just recommend watching sort of a few different videos and seeing whether things sound similar and just reading up a lot about it as well before you go. But the main thing is not to stress.
Yes.
Not to let it sort of get you down ahead of the trip.
Definitely.
Hopefully we have a few things that are a bit helpful. But also, we got a different background.
Oh yeah! We're in our new house. Moving vlogs will be coming. We have a very plain wall at the moment. And we have our old sofa still. We are going to get a new one very soon and say goodbye to this lovely sofa.
We're not sure how the setup will be, but this is it for the moment.
Right now.
So shall we dive into it? The way we're going to do it is talk a little bit about it, but mainly we've got questions from Instagram. We thought it was best if we just sort of answered questions that people had, because then that's the information that you're looking for, and then we'll try and sprinkle a few other bits in as well.
Yes. Okay, so question number 1, we got asked this a lot, and it was, what is it and how does it work? Which is such a valid question because when you do read about it, it is quite confusing. So I've written a little bit which I'm going to read out just so that it makes more sense.
Okay.
And I don't get all tongue-tied. But it's split into 3 kind of categories. So you've got Disney Genie, you've got Disney Genie Plus, and then you've got individual lightning lanes. And I feel that's where it gets a little bit confusing because there's 3 parts to Disney Genie.
Yeah.
So number 1 is Disney Genie, and that is the free planning service which is built into the My Disney Experience app. So this service can create personalised, flexible itineraries for your day. You can see forecasted wait times, mobile order your food, chat with a virtual assistant, see walk-up waitlist availability, make restaurant reservations, adjust your plans, and lots more. So these plans will update throughout the day because it's trying to help you get the most out of your day. So that is essentially what you get for free. So everyone can get that. Anyone who has the My Disney Experience app will get all of those services for free, which is great. So next, you've got the Disney Genie Plus. So this is the paid for FastPass-like service. So this costs $15 a day at Walt Disney World. If you pay this, you can then see when the next available time is to use various lightning lanes. These lightning lanes are essentially the FastPass lanes. So you will see the next available time to use the lightning lane you want, and when your time arrives, you can visit the ride and use the lightning lane instead of the standby line. You can't make a lightning lane selection until the day of your trip, which is 7 a.m. So that is where it gets a little bit more confusing. So you've got the Disney Genie, which is the free service, and then if you want, you can pay $15 to get Disney Genie Plus.
Per person.
So if you do decide to spend $15 and get Disney Genie Plus for that day, it means that you can log in, you can see the next available time for a lightning lane, you can book that, and then you can arrive at the ride when it's your time, and then you can use the lightning lane instead of the standby line. So it should be a lot quicker.
And there's lots of rides included under that umbrella, and that's mainly what we use, but we'll talk about that later.
So next is the individual lightning lanes. So you may think, oh, but you just spoke about lightning lanes. And we did. So with Disney Genie Plus, the majority of the rides are included within it. But there are a few rides per park
Yeah.
that are individual lightning lanes. So even if you've bought Disney Genie Plus, sadly, you won't be able to use your Disney Genie Plus to ride these rides.
Yes.
You have to individually buy them.
Yeah.
And the prices can vary day by day.
So these ones are pay per ride.
Pay per ride. And you can book 2 a day.
They're sort of deemed the most popular, I would say.
Yeah. So in a moment, we'll put up the list of attractions so you can see. But for example, there's something like Rise of the Resistance, which of course is such a popular ride. So you have to pay separately to ride that. If you want to use the lightning lane, of course, you can always use the standby line for any of these rides. But if you want to use the lightning lane, then you have to pay for it individually.
Yes.
So that is it, very briefly, very succinctly. But of course, there are little bits here and there which make it a little bit more advanced. There's some things you need to know, but hopefully within the questions, we'll cover all of that.
Yes.
How much is it? So like we said before, to use Disney Genie, that is absolutely free. To use Disney Genie Plus, that is $15 per person per day
Yes.
if you buy it on the day.
Yeah, or there's like a smaller charge, isn't there?
Yeah.
If you add it on at the beginning of your trip.
Yeah, so you can buy Disney Genie Plus for the whole time of your trip in advance. You can't book any lightning lanes in advance, but you can buy Disney Genie Plus in advance.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of companies now with the package holidays are offering it for a slightly reduced price. And we'll go on. I think there's a question about whether we think that's worth it, which we'll discuss later on.
Yeah.
But there is that option.
And then for the individual pay per ride
It
attractions,
varies.
it just varies, yeah.
You have to check on your phone. I think they hike it up when it's busy. They maybe drop it down when it's not so busy.
Yeah.
So it's definitely a day by day price.
It can really range. I mean, I think that when we were there, it wasn't any more than $20 for a ride.
No.
I can't remember actually how much we paid.
I think it was around $8, the majority, $8 to $12 per ride. But
Yeah.
it could all change.
Just check. It'll say on the app.
Yeah. Okay, the next question is how many rides can you book per day? So with the individual lightning lanes, you're only allowed to book 2 a day. So
Yes.
they're the individual paid for rides. You can only do 2 of them a day.
And they have to be
Different.
separate attractions. You can't say, I'm going to buy 2 Rise of the Resistance.
No, have to be 2 separate. And then for Disney Genie Plus, we don't think there is a limit. So the 2 rules for Disney Genie Plus is that you can book one at a time. So you book one, you use it, and then you can book the next one. Or you can book one every 2 hours, which we'll go on to explain a bit. That's what we tended to do.
Yeah, and the only other thing is that you can only go on the rides once.
You can only go on the ride once.
Of course, you can use standby after that.
Yeah.
But in terms of the Disney Genie Plus Lightning Lane, you can only use it once.
Yeah, so there isn't really a limit for Disney Genie Plus, but there are limits within the day.
Yes.
If that makes sense. What is the most number of lightning lanes you did in a day? We can't remember exactly. We think it's around 6.
We should have sort of tallied it up on the trip, but yeah, we think it was around there because there's definitely a vlog where we say we've got 5 stacked up for the evening,
and we'd already done one in the morning, I think.
Yeah, so maybe 6.
Maybe about 6. We averaged out about 4, maybe 4 or 5 a day. Do you think it worked better going to a park later on and stacking them up? So here we'll kind of explain what we mean about stacking up the lightning lanes, because we did mention that a lot in our vlogs and quite a lot of people asked, how are you managing to get like 4 within 2 hours? Okay, this is where it gets confusing. So you have your Disney Genie Plus, you've paid $15, and 7 a.m. you wake up ready to book your first lightning lane.
Yes.
So you see that Slinky Dog Dash, there is a lightning lane for 6 p.m. So in the evening, and you book that at 7 a.m. So because it's so far into the evening, every 2 hours after the park has opened, you can book another lightning lane. So say the park opens at 9 a.m. At 11 a.m., even though I haven't been on Slinky Dog, because that's going to be at 6 p.m, I can book another lightning lane. Yeah. So I could look and be like, oh, Tower of Terror, 7 p.m, I'll book that. And then again, so 2 hours after 11 would be 1 p.m. I still haven't gone on those 2 rides, but I can book another. So I can notice that, Rock and Roller Coaster for 7:30, I'll book that. So then I have 3 stacked up for the evening. So I hope that made sense. It definitely works if you're planning on going to, say, Hollywood Studios or Magic Kingdom in the evening, and they have a lot of rides that you can use Genie Plus for. If you decide that you don't really want to use Genie Plus in the morning, then you can stack them up throughout the day. Just set a little reminder on your phone for every 2 hours.
Yeah.
But I hope that explained it a little bit about how we did it.
So the next question was, is it easy to use? I think it just, like everything that's new, it sort of just takes a couple of days just to get used to it. But I think once you've used it for those days at the start, I think then you get used to like what you need to go on and where you need to go to see certain things. So yeah, I think it was quite easy.
Next is... this is what we mentioned earlier. Would you add it to your whole trip at a special rate, or would you just buy it on the day if you wanted? This is a very hard question to answer because I think each person's Walt Disney World trips are so individual. And if you're going to use it every single day and you know that before you go, then yeah, I'd highly suggest buying it in advance and getting it for a slightly cheaper rate.
Yeah.
If you're not sure if you're going to use it every day, I would probably wait and see.
Yeah, like we knew that we wanted to use it every day and we sort of budgeted for that, and we took money from elsewhere in our budget to use for the Genie Plus because rides were so important to us. And so because we knew we were going to use it every day, we would have, if we were able to, we would have done it at the beginning. But like we weren't staying on site, so we weren't able to. And then also I think at the time we booked the trip,
that wasn't
you couldn't
available.
include it in the bundle.
Yeah, it's like, so for example, if you're the type of person that loves rides and wants to get on 4 or 5 rides a day using the Lightning Lane, then yeah, I'd definitely buy it in advance. But if you're the type of person that some days doesn't want to go on any rides and just wants to watch parades and fireworks, or you want a resort day where you just spend the day at the resort and then go to Disney Springs, and you're not going to use it every day, then it might not be worth it because you might be paying more money than you would be if you bought it individually.
Yeah. Can I use only one smartphone in order to sort of organise? I think this was like in terms of, can you just have everybody on one phone and then organise everything for the group? And the answer is yeah. So when I woke up and booked it, it would have Helena's name there because we were already like linked to the tickets and stuff. So I'd select myself, select Helena, and then I'd go through and I'd pay. So that's the thing to consider, is you'll have to pay for everybody on that account. So like they'll have to send you money, or if you're just paying for them anyway. So yeah, so you'll pay for everybody on that, and then everyone will be linked to that, and then they can have it on their phone if they want. But if you just want to have it on one phone, you can organise it for everybody and make sure that you get all the same times.
Yes.
Because if you're going to book it separately on different phones and charge to different accounts, then you might not get the same times.
Yeah, because times jump. You'll click on it, and then when you go through to book it, it's jumped by like half an hour. Just because the amount of people using it at one time. Also, a little point to add to this one, not everyone in your party has to buy Disney Genie Plus for that day. Say you have someone in your party that doesn't really want to go on the rides, they don't have to buy Disney Genie Plus. But you'll only be able to book the Lightning Lanes for the people in your party that have bought Disney Genie Plus.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Yeah.
Does Genie Plus have anything to do with dining reservations? No, it doesn't.
You could do mobile order through the Genie app.
But that's completely free.
Yeah, that's free. And then you can just book the restaurants the normal way that you would before. So like you can go through the app, or you can go on your laptop and log in.
Yeah, so there's no extra charge for dining reservations, and there's no extra charge for mobile food ordering.
Yeah.
Actually, mobile food ordering is a very good tip, and that is a really good feature of Disney Genie.
We missed out on a lot of queues.
So if you notice that a restaurant has mobile food ordering, highly recommend doing it. can you buy Disney Genie Plus when you're already in the park, staying off site, and you find out it's super busy? So I think this question means, say you haven't bought it, but then you get to the park and you realise, oh my gosh, it's really, really busy. Can you buy it then? And the answer is yeah.
Yeah, you can do it. I think you can do it, at any time when you're in the park. Just the only thing is, if you do it sort of midway through the day, some things might have gone.
Yeah.
And there might be less chance of getting stuff. But, you
can buy it whenever.
You can still do it whenever. And you can also buy it off-site. You don't have to be in the park to get it. So we'd buy it in the villa when it hit midnight, basically.
Yeah.
That's when you could get it. So we'd get it then, and then we were able to book from 7 a.m.
Was there any other features that were nice apart from the line skipping? There was.
Yeah.
So when you buy Disney Genie Plus, you get some other pluses, which are filters, you get audio tales, and then you also get all the planning for free as well with Disney Genie.
The audio ones, I wish we'd done a few more, but we were just
Yeah.
concentrating on doing other things. But yeah, it told you like facts and stuff and stories from around the park and in different areas, which is really interesting. And then the filters, allowed you to like sort of interact with characters and interact with buildings. So you could do the castle and you could change it. And then you could get like Mickey coming up behind you and hugging you and stuff. Oh, I thought they were really good. We spent like half an hour one day, just sat down.
Do the filters.
Going through them all, yeah.
Which individual lightning lanes would you say is a must do? I made a little picture for this.
Right.
So right now I'm going to insert it. You can either screenshot it if you're watching it on your phone, or I'm also going to upload it to Instagram and Facebook, so you can check it out there. But we've made a little list of what we would suggest using your Disney Genie Plus and your individual lightning lanes for. So the first column is Disney Genie Plus attractions, and we have listed 2 attractions per park that we thought were the busiest, and they are the best attractions to book early in the day for.
Yeah. What I would say is that at 7 o'clock, when they're released for the like collective Genie Plus, so like Slinky Dog was like one of the major ones. And if it comes up, I just think waiting for a time is the worst thing you can do. So I just clicked on it one day, even though it said a certain time. I knew that time was going to be different because they're constantly being booked at that time. And it just meant that we got it.
Yeah.
It didn't matter to us what time it was.
Yeah.
But we were able to get it.
And then the second column is individual lightning lanes. So these are the top individual lightning lane per park that we think is most worth the money. And then I chose Frozen Ever After for Epcot. And the reason I chose that is because at the moment, Remy's Ratatouille Adventure is offering a virtual queue, which I thought was a great bonus. So you could pay for Frozen Ever After and then use the virtual queue for Remy. I thought that would be a good option.
Those can go very quickly.
Yeah.
Because people staying on site can book those from 7, whereas if you're staying off site, then you can only book them from 9. But sometimes they do crop back up. Like, for example, I think Mickey and Minnie came up midway through the day. Mickey and Minnie's Runaway Railway.
Also, with the individual lightning lanes, I'll use Rise of Resistance as an example. If you're staying at a Disney hotel, like Martin said, you can book these individual lightning lanes from 7 a.m. But if you're staying off-site, you can only book them from park opening, which is normally 9 a.m, 10 a.m, whenever the park opens. And we could not get an individual lightning lane for Rise of Resistance.
Yeah.
So if that's you as well, please don't panic, please don't worry. You are able to get on it. You can either do the standby line and wait a little bit longer, or like us, we use the standby line at the end of the day. And we got on within half an hour, both times. So
there's people who do rope drop as well.
Yeah, so please don't panic if you don't get it. It doesn't mean that you're never going to ride the ride. You can definitely still get on it without paying for it. So I just wanted to add that in because we never managed it, did we?
No.
What park was the best use of Genie Plus?
I think there's 2.
I
think the main ones were Magic Kingdom and Hollywood Studios. Though we used them in other parks because we would park hop.
Yeah.
So it meant that we could do quite a lot during the day in different parks. But like in terms of the amount of rides, Magic Kingdom in Hollywood Studios, yeah. And speaking of the amount of rides, you've put together
I've put together another little, I don't know what to call them, little
card.
cheat sheets, which I will, of course, put on Instagram and Facebook as well, but you can also screenshot. I'm going to put them up now. So these are the list of Genie Plus attractions.
Yeah.
And also individual lightning lanes per park. So as you can see, Hollywood Studios and Magic Kingdom, they have the most amount of rides included. So we'd definitely say they are the best parks to use Genie Plus for. Yeah. But yeah, hope those little cheat sheets help a little bit, and you can print them out and use them in your planning folder. It's sometimes quite nice just to see it visually. If you purchase Genie Plus and Park Hop, does it still count?
Yeah, so just like I was saying, yeah. So well, every day really, we did try to do two, don't we? Two different parks. So yeah, we'd use it in the morning for a couple, and then we could use it in the evening. Yeah. And then because we were able to stock up, we were able to use it when we were back at the villa. So in our little midday break, that's where we started stocking up ones for the evening.
For the evening, yeah. You can use it all day, and you can use it whenever, wherever you want. What is the difference between Genie Plus and Lightning Lane?
Oh, well, I think you did a good job of explaining this earlier on. So the Genie Plus is the collection of rides that you can do, the $15 per person per day, and then the individual lightning lanes are the per ride attractions, deemed like the more popular ones probably.
I think sometimes people get a little bit confused because say you bought the $15 Genie Plus and then you book on for Mad Hatter's Tea Party. When you go to Mad Hatter's Tea Party, you're going to use the lightning lane.
Yeah.
So basically they've changed. You've got the standby line and then you've got the lightning lane. So you're always going to use the lightning lane if you have one booked.
Yes.
And I think that's where people get a bit confused because I think a lot of people think the lightning lane is only for those paid per rides, but it's not. It's for all the Genie Plus attractions as well. So I think that's where people get. I think the names are very confusing.
It would be nice if like the Genie Plus, it was Genie Plus something lane, rather than lightning lane, because you've got lightning lane again then for the individual ones.
But the thing is, at Walt Disney World, everyone's so helpful.
Yeah.
So if you're a bit stuck and you don't know what lane you're going into, just ask the cast member and they'll be able to help you. Did you use park Wi-Fi, and what was it like?
It was hit and miss. Certain parks it was really good, but then there's certain areas of parks where it sort of dipped out a bit. There was one time where we did the mobile order, and then we were waiting for it to come up on the thing that it was ready, but then we couldn't get the Wi-Fi.
Yeah. You just have to keep moving around.
Yeah. On the most part, though, it was good. The only thing is, I was just going to say, the only thing is that it kept signing you out. So it kept signing you out of the app, and every time you'd have to log back in. Yeah,
I'd say the only downside to it is that you do spend a bit longer on your phone, which we kind of assumed would be the case.
Yeah.
But you do spend that little bit longer on your phone because you're, getting into the Wi-Fi and stuff.
And I know this is a question for later on, but I just thought we'd put it in now because we're talking about it. Does it run your battery down? Somebody asked. And yeah, it does.
Yeah.
But we always carry a portable charger, so that's quite a good thing to do. And then also, if we had it on, like, Helena could have just been in charge of organising it all, but we had it on both our phones, so it allowed us to sort of split the battery.
I would always carry a portable charger with you because the worst thing is that your phone dies and then you can't use what you paid for. They do offer like mobile phone charging in the park as well. But yeah, always carry a little portable charger with you because we use that daily, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did you find it more useful in the mornings or the evenings?
Well, I think because you were able to do the stacking thing, I think evenings probably ended up being better, because if you're doing it during the day, then it's like live real time, isn't it? And that you can only do. But we did use it during the day. But I think once we had that midday break, we were able to get quite a lot for the evening.
Up. Us personally, we used it way more in the evening, but we used it throughout the day, stacking them for the evening.
And then with that, if you're not sure when you can next book the next one, just go in and it'll tell you. It actually gives you a time. It says, oh, you can book your next one from this point. with the mornings, I think we just we had this plan every day, and it was get up at 6:45,
Yeah.
book the first one at 7, and then we just had to stay hot on it, like booking it from 2 hours once the park opened.
Yeah. If those popular rides, you have to book at 7 a.m. I'll also just put in a little side note here. I think that's the main difference between Lightning Lanes and Fast Pass. So Fast Pass was the old system, and you could choose a time with Fast Pass. You can't choose a time with Lightning Lane. You have to go for the next available time. And I think that's the biggest change to get your head around.
You can keep refreshing it, and it'll change times, but then you just have to deem, is it worth the risk? Keep refreshing.
The day's a little bit more spontaneous because of that. Whereas before you could plan at 7 p.m. I'm going to do this.
Yeah.
You can't do that anymore.
Yeah.
So
it's like you knew how to do it.
Yeah.
I quite enjoyed that aspect,
Yeah.
I suppose. But no, I mean, obviously picking the times would be the best thing.
Yeah. What are the standby lines like?
Just going off of when we were there. I mean, we were there for quite a busy period. We didn't think of all these times when we booked it, but there was like Veterans Day, Thanksgiving. There was another one as well. The Dapper
Day, Dapper Weekend.
We found that the lines were quite long. For standby.
Yeah, I think they have. It's been quite busy at Walt Disney World. I think it's a case of like the borders reopening, so lots of people can go again. So, in all honesty, without buying Disney Genie Plus, we wouldn't have gotten as many rides as we did. In all honesty,
saved us time.
It saved us a lot of time, especially for the more popular ones. But yeah, it's possible to do standby lines all day.
Yeah.
But when we went, they were quite long.
They were, because we were heading also into, I mean, it was like Christmas, wasn't it, heading in?
Do you feel like you needed it in every park? We kind of touched on this earlier. If you're heading to Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios, then I would recommend it. We got it every single day because we always park hopped.
Yeah.
So even if we weren't in Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios in the morning, there was a high chance that we were going to park hop there later.
Yeah.
So that's why we got it majority of the days. Yeah, I think Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios, big yes. The other ones, if you're just going to spend the whole day in Epcot, maybe not. Would you buy it again?
I mean,
yes.
I think it would be great if we could say no.
Yeah.
That we wouldn't need it, but I think because we've done it and we saved so much time, I think we'd now factor it into each trip.
Yeah, because we love rides. Rides is a big factor of our holidays. So for us, it's really important. So personally, yeah, we would buy it again.
But yeah, it just depends on what you deem as the most important thing, and you might not need it.
Is there a tier system? No, there isn't a tier system like the old Fast Pass system where you had, was it 3 tiers?
I can't even remember.
2 tiers?
Now.
I can't remember now. You don't have that. So you've got you pay $15 and then you can use it on any of the Genie Plus attractions.
Yeah.
So the only real tier system is that between Disney Genie Plus and individual Lightning Lanes. That's kind of where the tier comes in. Mm-hmm. What made you want to use it?
Again, just because we love going on the rides, and we were just really worried about the wait times and getting on everything.
Yeah. Also, I will queue, but I'm not the best at queuing. I know some people are very good at queuing, and some people don't mind standing in an hour-long queue. We will only do that rarely. So for us, cutting down queue times is a huge bonus for us.
I think also because we like splitting the day up. So if we can get a lot done in like a chunk in the morning and early afternoon and then a chunk in the evening, that's better because we're going to be having that break.
Yeah.
Also, it just helps in terms of like, you probably know, we don't tend to go in for like rope drop.
Oh yeah.
So sometimes it helped for that reason as well.
Yeah, very true. You could probably achieve some of what we spent money on by doing rope drop, probably. Is it worth using the Disney Genie Itinerary or going rogue and just using it for the Lightning Lanes?
We can't really answer whether it's beneficial to use because we just didn't use it.
No. There might be some good videos on YouTube where someone uses it all day.
I think it like tries to plan out so that you're doing like the least travelling across.
Yeah, and least wait times.
Yeah.
But yeah, we just didn't use it. We just used the lightning lanes, really.
Yeah.
That's all we used. How do you think the experience of Genie Plus at Walt Disney World compares to that of Universal and their Express? That's a really good question. Express was definitely less confusing at Universal.
Yeah.
So I think there's 2 different Express passes you can use. One which you can go on every ride once, and then one where you can go on multiple times a day.
Yeah.
I would say Disney Genie Plus is a little bit more confusing, but there is more option of going on every single ride. With Universal, there were some rides that you just couldn't get an express pass for.
Yeah, and for example, there was like popular
ones.
like Hagrid's isn't included. Yeah, so at least like Disney, though you have to pay for like the individual
There is
lightning
that
lane,
option.
you've got the option of trying to skip the queue.
Yeah. Also, Disney Genie Plus, although it is an expense, it is cheaper than Universal Express. I think Universal Express, I can't remember how much, but it's definitely a lot more than $15
a day. Yeah.
A day. I know they do like packages where you can get it for free if you stay in one of their hotels. But if you're just doing it on a pay per day basis, then Disney Genie Plus is cheaper. How did you find only being able to book an attraction one at a time?
I found it all right because, okay, we had that time. We didn't specifically want that time, but we had a time in mind. So then we just based stuff around that.
It's definitely more spontaneous than before. I would say that's the biggest change. That being said, we are a couple, and I realise this could be very different to a family.
Yeah.
So if you are watching this with a family, I understand that being spontaneous is probably, it's a lot more work. So yeah, just wanted to say that we are experiencing this just as a couple.
And obviously it gets a lot more expensive.
Yes. This is nice. This leads on. Can you do plenty without it?
Oh yeah.
You can.
Yeah.
And I don't want this video to make it sound like you have to buy it. We're just saying our experience of using it and what we liked about it. But you really, honestly, you don't have to buy it to have a good time at Walt Disney World.
There's so much going on,
So much you can do.
You got the shows, you've got the parades,
Yeah.
You've got just stuff to look at,
Yeah.
take in, you've got restaurants.
And there is always the standby line.
There's standby lines.
So if there's a ride you really want to do, you can get on it. You just have to queue. So don't feel like you have to fork out loads of money, which you don't want to do.
Yeah.
Please don't. You can have an amazing holiday without using it. Was it ever sold out? Genie Plus never sells out. The only things that sell out essentially are the lightning lanes.
Yeah.
So they can get full.
So the next question is, how do you think it affects the cost of a once in a lifetime first time trip? Well, to any trip that you're going to take, I mean, it does add on. It adds on a fair whack. This was something that we had to weigh up.
Yeah, so $15 times 14, so you used it for 14 days. That's $210 per person.
Yeah.
Extra.
So it was something that we had to think about, something that we had to sort of discuss first, and then we looked at our budget, and then we sort of took from other areas of the budget. So it meant that we didn't do as many like dining experiences, and instead we put the money into doing the Genie Plus. So yeah, it adds on a lot, and if you're a family, then yeah.
If your time's in that by 4, 5, 6,
that is a big negative.
Big chunk of money. And that's where I would say, please make sure that you're going to use it every day. If you do fork out that much money, make sure that you're going to use it, because it might just be better to do it day by day, person by person. That's where your planning sort of comes in, and getting everybody round the table and like, what do we think we're going to do and how's best to utilise it. And I think it is kind of a shame in that way that maybe people feel that if they can't afford to buy Genie Plus, then it's not worth going. Yeah. I wouldn't agree with that. I think if you can't afford to pay for Genie Plus, but you can afford to go, still go, because you can still have an amazing time. Last question. Is it easy to get Lightning Lane passes? Yes and no. It depends what ride. like you always have we found that there was always an option
Yeah.
to book a lightning lane for a ride.
Yeah.
Certain rides fill up really, really fast. And again, that's where our little suggestion sheet might come in handy, because those are the rides that fill up really fast.
Yeah.
So for those rides, you're going to want to book them at 7 a.m.
7 a.m. was always Slinky Dog or Smuggler's Run.
Yeah.
You know, they were popular ones,
Jungle
weren't they?
Cruise.
Jungle Cruise.
I mean, they're all on that list.
Yeah.
So make sure you have a look. And then for the individual paper ride lightning lanes, they filled up fast. If you're staying off site like us, it was hard. Like, we never managed to get Rise of Resistance. We never managed to get
We didn't get Flight of Passage.
Yeah. So yeah, for some it is hard. It is hard to get them.
Yeah. And then for the ones that we did do, we actually, the individual lanes that we paid for, we waited until like quite a way into the trip to see whether or not we could get on them first.
Yes.
So that's quite a good thing to do as well, if you can.
Yeah.
Sort of see how it's going before deciding if you're going to do those individual ones.
And that is it.
Is that it?
We've reached the end of our questions. Thank you so much for sending them in. We really hope that was helpful. And I hope you're not just staring at the screen saying, what?
Yeah. If you have any other questions that you don't think that we've answered, then you can pop them in the comments and we'll try and get back to you. We're still working through comments. Apologies for that.
But also, I've had a few comments from people saying that they're quite stressed out about it and that they're worried. And I understand why, because it's really confusing, and it's hard because when you go to explain it to someone, you realise how confusing it is. But I just want to say, please don't stress. You will work it out once you're there.
Yeah.
It will get easier once you're actually doing it.
Yeah.
And if you're stressed about not having it, try not to stress about that either, because you can still have a really, really good holiday.
Yeah, definitely.
And that's it, really.
Yeah, and just watch some other videos and look at some other stuff if you want a bit more information as well.
So I'll make sure all of those cheat sheets are on Facebook and on Instagram, so you can save them there. And yeah, all the links will be in the description box.
Cool.
We're gonna go now. I need a cup of tea.
Things are always changing as well. That's what I will say.
Oh yeah. So obviously we've recorded this in the present. In a year's time, if you're watching this, double check before you go, because it might all be different. So yeah, we can only speak for what we experienced.
Yeah, but thanks so much for watching not only this video but the whole Walt Disney World series that we've been putting out. Your comments have been so lovely and we've enjoyed replying to them, and we're going to have some more videos moving forward, some more Disney ones. We're going to have moving vlogs,
day in the lives.
Probably
a few like home, like room tours and room changes.
Yeah.
When we change it up.
So we got loads coming. So if you've not subscribed, and if you'd like this video, hit the like button and also subscribe. We've got loads of Disney trips that we've already vlogged there on the channel. Disneyland Paris and Walt Disney World. And hopefully sometime in the future we can get to Disneyland Paris.
I know, for their 30th.
30 years.
I am loving all of the plans. It looks good.
I haven't really read up on them actually.
Oh, there's lots. Okay, so we will see you in the next one. Bye.
Toodle-pipski.